What's going on, the YouTubes? This is Sidney Cumbie once again with yet another makeup video. This video is just going to be a makeup demo that I did at Monsterpalooza for European Body Arts. I wanted to do another big orc demo that I did from the last Monsterpalooza, but I wanted to do this one just green, nastier, with a little bit of battle damage. I did like a sewn together eye, and I did a little bit of hair on this one. This was a lot of fun. I used Mel's Pax. I changed it up a little bit, used the Mel's Pax for this. I used the Mel's Bald Cap. But I think the makeup came out pretty decent. I liked it. I was kind of rushed through it. I didn't have a lot of time to do this makeup, so I tried to rush through it. But overall, I think it came out really good. All RBFX prosthetics, of course, like always. And I hope you guys enjoy it, because here it goes. What's going on, guys? Looks like I'm going to run you through this video. I know I sometimes miss some things. I'm very sorry, but I do a lot of voiceovers for these videos, so you can always watch another one. But this is going to be for the orc makeup I did at Monsterpalooza, so let's get this thing going. Alright, so now what I'm doing here is I'm pre-painting the cowl. This is an RBFX cowl. A little bit smaller than the first orc that I did, and I used one of their cowls. This one has smaller shoulders, but I'm pre-painting it with some Mel's Pax. This is Mel's Pax, a little bit different than the usual Pax that I like to use. I really thin this one out, maybe a little bit too much, so it's kind of thin. So I do a couple of layers of Pax. Now remember, with foam latex, you have to seal it. This is a foam latex piece, so you have to seal it with either Prosade or Pax, and generally Pax is just Prosade mixed with acrylic paints, so you get a nice layer of color while you're adding the Prosade to seal it. Now you have to seal it because foam latex is basically a sponge, and for you to use alcohol colors, watercolors, grease paints, or anything on this prosthetic, you have to seal it, and that's what I'm doing right here. I'm sealing it. I'm using a Delium Tools a large stipple brush and a sea sponge. The sea sponge is giving a little bit more texture, and I'm using Mel's Pax. With this color, with the first color, I think I went with like a monster and maybe a darker green. Mixed them together to get this color, maybe a brown. I think I used a brown and a monster, so maybe a mummy base or something like that. I'm just using a sea sponge right here. And I stay away from the edges. Make sure you, when you're pre-painting any prosthetics, stay away from the edge, because you want the edge as pristine as possible before you apply it. Now that said, I'm not going to paint the bottom edges and the shoulder edges, because those edges are not going to be seen, because wardrobe will be over those. Alright, so now I'm adding like a mint green, so a very light green, just to add a little bit more texture to the skin that I'm going for. And I'm going to go over this whole thing with airbrush colors, but I'm just doing sort of like my undertones with a darker green, then a lighter green on top to make it much more fleshy. And as you can see, it's already starting to look like a flesh. It's already starting to be broken up. It's not as flat as just the first layer, so I'm using like a mint green to sort of texture it out. And I'm using a sea sponge, a simple sea sponge. I apply with one and then I dab it away with the other one, just sort of blend it. And this is still a Pax color, this is another Mel's color that I have. I usually use Thomas Serpinaut Pax. I think Thomas Serpinaut maybe works a little bit better, but you know, they're Pax, they still get the job done. So not to say I don't like Mel's. I do like to use Mel's Pax as well. Alright, tapping it in there. It's looking really great. Alright, now we are at Monsterpalooza. I am at the European Body Art booth, and I am applying this orc. So I'm doing the bald cap first. This is a Mel's Bald Cap. It's made out of vinyl material. Also, people call these plastic bald caps as well. So what you're going to do is, just glue it down and blend away the edge with acetone. And this is a medium bald cap, and this guy's a pretty large noggin, but You know, just because he's a big guy, you know. So I had to. This is a medium. Look, if a medium fits, that's pretty awesome. The large is kind of big, and as you can see, it blends really well into the skin because it's, you know, as long as you're blending it with acetone, you won't even see the edge. Alright, so I pulled the cowl over him, and as you can see, the cowl does not fit because the cowl was sculpted on a generic head, so an average size head. And now what I'm going to have a problem with here is I didn't clean the skin because I was kind of in a rush. I didn't have a lot of time, so the glue is starting to fall back and come off, and so I really have to glue this thing down a lot to make sure, and I have him hold it right here. But I'm using the Sil Bond, the new silicone glue by European Body Art, and at first I thought it was the glue. I was like, this glue is not strong enough, but in actuality it was just I didn't clean the skin after we had wet his skin and we put hairspray in his hair, so there was some sort of residue there. And what's going on here is I got some really bad edges. Things rolled over just because of my stupidity at the time. Just trying to rush through this makeup because I had very little time as is. So I got it to lay down. As you can see, there's some bad edges. There's some pinched little bits on the side there. But what I plan on doing is stretching the face. The cool thing about foam latex is you can stretch it relatively far. So that is what I'm going to do, try to cover those edges. I just taped down his eye with some surgical tape because I'm going to put a prosthetic over his eye, and it's just better that he doesn't keep opening and closing his eyes. Now if I were putting these on both of his eyes, I would probably only tape down one so that he could at least see out of one of the eyes. And I'm still using the Sil Bond European Body Art silicone glue. And what you want to do when you're applying one of these full face prosthetics, you want to start from the inside out. So I started from the nose, and I'm going to work my way out and stretch it where it needs to be stretched and everything like that. So beware, do not try to glue down the lip and then, you know, and work your way from there. Glue down, usually the center is the forehead and the nose, glue that down and then work your way out. You'll be able to match up the eyes really well. And these pieces are sculpted on generic live cast, you know, just a sort of an average size face. So if it's a bigger face, you got to stretch it. If it's a smaller face, it's going to be kind of hard to make a smaller face work, but you can do it. And some of these generic prosthetics are sculpted on smaller faces, so sometimes you'll get lucky. But I'm stretching this quite a bit. You know, I'm just lifting up pieces and then pulling it tight and laying it down. You want to make sure you have a really good coverage up under the prosthetic. So coat every bit up under the prosthetic with glue because you don't want weird wrinkles. If your actor, model, or whatever makes a face and there's not glue up under that particular part of the prosthetic, it's going to wrinkle in a weird way that you might not want. Now if it's a zombie and it wrinkles, it might look okay, but just know that you probably messed up a little bit. Alright, I'm just lifting up pieces and tacking them down. I like to use the back of the brush to sort of tack down pieces that I glue up under. So I'll either put like a little bit of powder or a little bit of alcohol in the back of the brush and then tap it down so that the brush doesn't stick. Alright, and just powdered over the upper lip, and you can see how seamlessly this prosthetic blends into the skin. That's just RBFX with the great edges. Usually what I do here is I usually put a little bit of zinc oxide on the lip. Zinc oxide is a powder, and it just helps the glue stick stronger, because if it's glued on the lip or around the mouth, what's going to happen is heat and moisture sort of reactivates glue, or it lifts the glue up a little bit. So make sure that you put a little bit of zinc oxide. It's just going to help you. You can usually get that at any makeup store. I'm using my Delium Tool bent liner brush. It's my favorite brush to use to glue, to use as a glue brush. So if you see that little bent brush, it's a liner brush. It's not a glue brush, but I use it as a glue brush. This brush right here, I love it. It looks like it's going down pretty easy. I can see on the side of the face right there that I could not cover those two wrinkles. That was a little upsetting, but as an orc, you can always work with it. Orcs are gonna have sort of weird lumps and stuff, maybe. So I thought, you know what, I'll go with it. Maybe I'll clip it off. I am gonna try to patch it up a little bit with a little bit of Bondo though. You'll see it coming out. Alrighty, so I'm powdering everything. Make sure everything gets some powder, because I powder around the edges just so nothing else sticks to the prosthetic, because there's going to be glue on the edges. And now that's a cool note. Something cool to know when you're laying down foam latex pieces. After you glue it all the way down, on the edges, if there's slight edges that haven't been glued down, you can always stipple a little bit of Prosade, a little bit of glue over the edges, and that is going to seep through the prosthetic and glue it down. That's only really thin edges. Don't do it if it's a thick spot. If it's a thin edge, if you stipple over the thin edge, it will seep through, because basically foam latex is a sponge. All of this is very porous. It breathes really well. It's super lightweight, but if you stipple over the edges with a little bit of glue, it will lock it down. And also, it'll also blend it out and texture it out onto the skin better, because you'll be texturing with a little bit of texturing with a little bit of glue. And now I'm going in right here with a little bit of Bondo. Bondo it's not car Bondo. Please don't do that. It is basically Cabosil and Prosade mixed together to make a thick mixture. And so it's basically hidden those two wrinkles that I had on the side of the face. So that's good. And I textured it out with a white sponge, just a regular makeup sponge. And that's how you hide your bad edges. If you have a bad edge with foam latex, just ramp it up with a little bit of this Bondo. You can get it at any effects store. You can make it out of Cabosil and Prosade, but beware. Make sure you wear a safety mask, because Cabosil, if you breathe it in, it is known to cause cancer. So beware, don't breathe it in. But once it's mixed up in the mixture, you will not have a problem with it. It is completely safe after that. So now I'm going in with my base coat. This is the Mel's Pax paint, or the Mel Pax paint, and I'm just doing my base coat, covering all of the prosthetic that is just the generic flesh color. I'm covering all that up with green, because you have to seal foam latex in order to paint it. Even though this looks like I'm painting it, I'm actually sealing it, but I'm also sealing it with a Pax, so it already has color in it. So make sure you seal foam latex with Pax. And I'm using a sea sponge and a Delium tool. That is a like sort of medium stipple brush. All the stipple brushes by Delium Tools are my favorite brushes. So make sure you guys check out Delium Tools. It is spelled B, Delium Tools. So make sure you put the B in front of Delium, but the B is silent. Alrighty, I think I'm still putting a layer of green on there. I can still see some spots of the prosthetic, so I'm going to cover it all up. He's looking really splotchy, but he's going to be an orc, so he's going to be kind of splotchy. And as you can see, it doesn't match the cowl yet, so the cowl that I pre-painted doesn't match that, but I will blend it and I will make it work. And there it goes. Now I'm using the mint color by Mel's as well, and I'm doing just basically a stipply flesh color. I'm making it blend into the original flesh color that I did on the cowl before my pre-painting. You can see that it's starting to blend a little bit. It's looking a little bit better, but also airbrushing is going to help this a lot as well. And when I'm doing this makeup, I'm being distracted a lot because I am at an event, so there are people asking questions, so I got to turn around all the time and answer questions. So it's it's just taking me a little while to get this thing done. But I'm using another stipple brush right there, doing a little bit of dry brushing technique, just brushing a little bit of that lighter color all over. I'm cleaning up some of the powder I have on the cowl right there with that little bit of water. Now I'm using my Epic Dat airbrush by European Body Art, and I'm going over it with a custom color that I mixed with some more European body art colors. I almost made it like a mint green, almost an olive adjuster actually. It's sort of that close. It's just a lighter green with a little bit of yellow. It was like a mint, but then I added a little bit of yellow in there, and that's what I'm doing in my overspray. So now I'm hiding some of that texture that I put on with the sea sponge. So I'm just covering some of that up. Now I'm going in with a darker green. This might be the oil color they have. There's like an oil, I think it's in the Joe Harlow kit. And I really liked it. I know it's in there. It's just a really dark green. It could be the oil. I wasn't quite sure. I didn't plan this makeup. I sort of just winged it. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Blah blah blah. So I didn't really plan a lot of this. I was just looking in the kit. I was like, all right, this color, maybe this color, and I use like the color liver and contusion in a lot of my makeups, and I use it in this one as well. I just like those two colors by European Body Art. And now, you know, I'm just basically doing shadows on this thing, sort of highlighting, you know, the shadows. I think I'm maybe using the liver right here now. Maybe this is the purple. So this is probably the contusion. I want to darken the tips of the ears, around the eye, make that eye kind of really nasty, the one that's going to be sewn together, the swollen eye. I want it sort of nasty, swollen. I want it to be leaking ooze as well. So now I'm going in with some cream colors. These are probably Ben Nye colors from the Bruise Wheel. Probably doing a little bit of darker maroon and purple. I often use those two colors in every makeup, really. I thought with the green, I knew the maroon would pop, and the purple always looks good with green. So it also has a hint of yellow in it. So purple and yellow, of course, are going to be really great together. Alright, so now I'm using, that's probably the liver right here, because I think the liver is the last color I used. And I'm doing a little bit of modeling all around the skin as well. I'm sort of just doing some splotchiness. As you can see, it looks really splotchy. And that's what skin is. Skin is, it's not one color. You know, if you do a solid paint job, it's just not going to look real. It's going to look cartoony. It's going to look fake, plastic. So make sure you're giving dimension and you're making it more of a realistic skin texture. Look at your hand, look at your arm, look at reference, and be like, okay, so this, you know, looks good because of all the colors that are in it. You'll see all the splotchiness, and you can always achieve that with spattering as well, which is what I'm going to do pretty soon. There it is. That's what I'm doing right here. So I'm using this. You know, not everything in makeup is expensive. This spatter brush, airbrush that I have right here costs like $12 at Harbor Freight in LA. Actually, it's like North Hollywood or whatever. So if you were in the area, go to Harbor Freight, get this spatter gun. It's pretty amazing. So when you look at skin, it is broken up. It is different colors. So that's what I'm doing right here. I'm going to spatter a contusion, which is a purple, liver, which is red. I'm going to spatter the overspray color that I did. So it's like a minty yellow green, maybe like an olive. And then I'm going to do a dark green. If you do too many colors, it can get muddy. I knew how much of each one I was going to do just to make it work, because the purplies and the reds are going to be almost like freckles, almost, and then the dark green is going to be freckles, and the lighter green is sort of going to go merge the purple and the red and sort of hide some of it. That's just how I do things. Again, you don't have to paint like I paint. I paint like this because that's how I learned how to paint. The other people do it in different ways. My friend Ian, he's an amazing painter, and he does the total opposite of what I do. because I go in with all these Pax colors, and he doesn't. He just does like one Pax color, and it makes things work. So now I'm gluing in the stitches right here. Check that out. I'm using my handy dandy makeup tweezers and gluing in the stitches into the eye. And now I'm not stitching, but I'm gluing. I'm cutting pieces and gluing them and making it look like stitches. These stitches I actually found in my bathroom. It was a little rope connected to a basket in my bathroom. So I was like, oh, that would be perfect for the stitches. So I snipped it off and I actually put that in there. I thought it was kind of cool. I'm using a little liner brush right here, or a veining brush, to put a little bit of yellow ooze coming out of the eye because I thought it looked cool. I always like to, add, if it's an oozy color, it's like yellow. It's like bile color. I really like it. So this wig was made by Son of Monsterpalooza. I've used it in a couple of makeups now. I think it really plays well. I'm not gonna put it on there yet. But the colors that I'm putting on here right now, this is a shine material. This is actually made by Son of Monsterpalooza as well. It's called Glisten Up. It just makes things look more alive. It has a little bit of sheen to it, a little bit of shine, so it's gonna make it look more like skin. So once you put this on, it goes on sort of milky, and then it dries clear. I didn't want to do too much. I didn't want to make him look sweaty. I wanted to make him look like has a flesh, like he has that little sheen to skin, that little translucency to skin. That's what I was going for. And you can do this with KY. You can do this with lubricants. That'll simulate sweat. You can do it really thin to make it look like this, but that does dry out relatively quick. So I like to use Glisten Up because it dries and it stays, and it almost seals the makeup for you. It's like a pack, so it is like seals it up for you. Alrighty, so let's look. And now I'm putting on the wig. So I'm just lifting up a little bit of the wig, and I'm putting a little bit of glue up under it. I didn't glue down the wig totally all the way. I just sort of pulled it tight and laid it on top. And I actually colored the, you can see the lace up there in between. I colored that a little bit green towards the end of this, just to make it match. Alrighty, it's looking good. Styling the hair up a little bit, and it's only the top of the head because I was like, orcs only have hair at some spots. They're kind of sparse, especially the bad orcs. I think the makeup's nearly complete. It looks pretty good. And here it is. You can see the yellow oozy eye, the stitches, the sort of rope that I found in my bathroom. The contacts right there are actually made by 9mm, and the teeth are made by Tinsley. Tinsley makes teeth, and they were on the go, and I was like, I'll grab these teeth. And all the wardrobe was from the film Noah. If you saw the film Noah, I have a ton of wardrobe from that movie, so I'm using it. I use it a lot. Yeah, there it is, guys. I hope you enjoyed this makeup. Maybe you got something out of it. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you learned a little bit about foam latex and stuff. Maybe you learned a little bit about colors and what colors I use. Alright, yeah, cool, man. All of the prosthetics for RBFX. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and share the videos. And I'll catch you guys later. Thanks.